Hello, everyone. Sat Sangat Astrology. I am back to speak about the Scorpio full moon of May 1st, 2026. And I will analyze the chart and let you know my interpretation of the aspects and everything regarding the planetary influence on this Scorpio full moon. Is ruled by Mars and by Pluto. Modern ruler is Pluto. Traditional ruler is Mars. Mars is in Aries and Pluto is in Aquarius. So I will show you the chart, of course. We still have a stellium in Aries, though. So we are looking for balance, right? And there is a lot of energy in Aries, the sign of going forward, pioneering, and fighting for oneself and for what one thinks is one's rights. Um, to defend identity, to defend our own um, will, if you like. So let's take a look at the cycle, which started at the end of Aries with a full stellium there. Remember, there were eight bodies in Aries, so strong energy to fight, to get started, but the presence of Saturn was, let's say, putting a stick in the wheel, right? So we were not able to do whatever we would have liked to started in the house occupied for Aries. So and maybe for good reason that we will find out once we are free from Saturn and we are able to start that project, which is full moon time or after the full moon time. So we will see that energy. But this first part of the cycle of the moon, or second half of April, we felt kind of hindered. And our energy was thwarted. So let's see, the waxing square happened in Leo in opposition to Pluto. So there was an energy of manipulation, maybe, of domination and willpower in relationships, trying to dominate. So it was a very hard time to do whatever we were planning to do. Even though Mars, the ruler of the moon cycle or the new moon, is now getting away from Saturn, but still we are with the accelerator and the brake at the same time. Here in the declination chart table, we can see Neptune at 0 declination. This is a very significant degree of declination because it coincides with the sun position at the time of the equinoxes. So Neptune plays a huge role here because we can feel this confusion, that we really don't know what's going on, or we really are not sure what to do yet, and we are handling different possibilities, but actually we are not defined on what to do in the end. So that's the waxing square that happened April 23rd. Now we just passed the Scorpio full moon. I am recording this on Saturday the 2nd. So uh, I would like to review this chart, the energies of this chart, so you can go in retrospective and see how you can apply this to your own chart, right? And you probably know the meanings of the houses where the full moon falls. So before I describe the energies of the chart, I will review with you the full moon or illumination or light on each house. So if Scorpio is your first house, then it is all about you and whatever the moon illuminates in your life, then it will affect your home life, your family, your relationships, and your career. So if the full moon happens in your second house, it's an illumination or realization or completion regarding your own resources and your values, also at a spiritual level. If Scorpio is your third house, then it's illuminating your communications, maybe your relationships with your relatives, neighbors, or the place where you live, your short distance transportation and such. If Scorpio is your fourth house, then this full moon is illuminating your home and family life. If Scorpio is your fifth house, then this full moon is illuminating the life of your children, your creativity, your hobbies, and your entertainment. If Scorpio is the sixth house, then this full moon illuminates your health, your everyday routines, your work, the place of work, if you have employees and such, if you rent out real estate, and that may apply also to the sixth house themes. If Scorpio is your seventh house, then this full moon is illuminating your partnerships and how the way you relate to other people. If the Scorpio is your eighth house, then this full moon is illuminating your shared resources, your finances, your mortgage investments, the insurance companies with which you have a relationship. If Scorpio is the ninth house in your chart, then this full moon is illuminating and showing completion about something related to long distance travel, high level studies, cultural, religious issues, international affairs, and such publications as well. If you're a professor, you're teaching. If the Scorpio is the 10th house, then this full moon is illuminating your career, and it also affects all the angles in the chart. If Scorpio is 11th house, then this full moon illuminates the groups you participate, those with whom you share the same ideology. It could bring, for example, benefactors. It's also illuminating the the gains or the benefits or the earnings that you have from your career. If Scorpio is the 12th house, then this full moon is putting light on secrets, on self-destructive and self-undoing behaviors in your psychology that you are not so well aware of. And it could be addictions, it could be secrets, as I said, and also secret enemies. Secret enemies can be from germs like bacteria, virus, etc., up to people and behaviors that you might have, or actions that other people may take against you. So that's in a nutshell how the full moon can affect you personally. Of course, if you need an in-depth analysis of what this full moon means, because suppose that is your birthday, or there is you are going through a special period or important events in your life and you need guidance, don't hesitate to contact me. This is the waning square. You see the moon at 19 degrees of Aquarius, square the sun at 19 of Taurus. That's the closing square. And this is when you have the realizations or assimilation of what the cycle was about. And generally, there is a crisis in consciousness where you have to accept what had happened during this cycle, this moon cycle. And notice that Venus is out of bounds. We will analyze the full moon chart in detail, but I wanted to show you the whole cycle so you have a better idea. If you need consultation, I offer consultations, private, confidential consultations on any platform that you prefer. So don't hesitate to contact me at this email, PUKAVYPORA @gmail.com. And you can visit my blog. It's at sankatastrology.blogspot.com, where you have a page there where there are clients' opinions about my work. Also, you have information on the readings or the consultations I offer, how much it costs, and how to order. So let's go back to the chart of the full moon. Here it is. So to get started, of course, the moon is in Scorpio. It is in the decan of Pisces, ruled by Jupiter, traditional ruler, and Neptune, the modern ruler. So we have the sun projecting its light, its consciousness light on the moon from the sign of Taurus and the decan of Virgo. So we have here energy of problematic issues regarding resources. And why do I say problematic? Because Virgo is the sign where we identify problems, things that are not working well in property, and where we look for efficient functioning. And the sign of Taurus is the sign of resources, the values, the things that we desire and we need to attract in order to survive and sustain life. For example, food, or the money of our salary that will then become the energy that we that we need in order to sustain our life. So Scorpio is the sign of the shared energy. So shared resources and the trust. So the moon is now shedding light on our ability to trust, especially to trust um, the way we can obtain energy and resources to help us sustain life, because in Scorpio is the energy where we need to confide or trust someone else or a financial institution, for example, in order to um, increase our resources. That's why Scorpio describe, for example, insurance companies and contracts and agreements, also investments, and the money that we share with other people that we haven't worked for. For example, mortgages as well, so in loans and such. So so as you can see, there is an important energy of an important highlight. The sun in Taurus, the moon in Scorpio. They're highlighting the energy axis of the zodiac and energy resources. So fuel, for example, food, agriculture, everything that is naturally produced, like produce and fruits, vegetables, and everything that is naturally grown. So there is a wide square with Pluto. However, there are other less obvious aspects that we need to consider. So one of them is considering the rulers. So let's start with the ruler of the moon, which is Mars. As Mars is here at 16 degrees of Aries, and it is applying to a square to Jupiter. As I said, now Mars is far enough from Saturn that it starts feeling liberated from its yoke. So now at this full moon, we start feeling that now we can do something and not being pulled down as we were before. So in fact, once Mars perfects the square to Jupiter, that will be see, I will tell you when exactly. So you have on the 4th of May, then Mars will feel this hump, this push to do something because its energy will be magnified. And Mars is actually affecting Jupiter more than Jupiter to Mars, but however, it is a very impulsive kind of energy where you might be suddenly want to do something, and you might need to watch for those impulses that are not properly thought through or planned. If you have a project that you have been brewing, right, that you have been developing, creating, or studying, that's okay. You can now jump and start doing it. However, if this is something that comes up on the 4th of May for the first time and you want to jump on it and do it, try to think before you act, because it could be an impulse that you may regret later because you didn't study it very well. You know, Mars in Aries wants to do and then think about it. And that is not a good way. So I think that's why having the conjunction with Saturn was helpful in that way, that we were forced to retain, restrict ourselves, and think about whatever we wanted to do, and probably make a plan, get organized, and such. So on the 4th of May, it could be at the global level, it could be a very explosive day if there was someone or some organization, some country have been planning, you know, with Saturn, something like an attack or something aggressive, then it could be very dangerous. Now, the other thing is that we have kind of a kite, because we have Saturn and Venus at 9 degrees respectively of Aries and Gemini, and in conjunct this moon. So this moon is a lonely moon over there, receiving all this energy from Aries through to Gemini, and is a focal point of especially these two that are in close orb to the moon, like 2 degrees orb. So Saturn and Venus in sextile are talking about restrictions or obstacles of resources. And Venus in Gemini is kind of unstable in her desires and her values, but the sextile with Saturn makes her think through things. So Venus is the ruler of the sun in this full moon, so we need to be careful about what Venus is doing in Gemini, right? It is liking the communications, is still separating from the trine to Pluto. It could be also Venus charged with manipulation and powers, wanted to empower herself. So Venus represents not only resources, but also finances, money. So there could be a profound transformation here regarding currency, like manipulation of currency, like inflationary uh, proceedings, like the government's printing more money in order to cope with the situation, etc. And Saturn is putting brakes on Venus, like helping her get her mind set, organized, wait for the proper time. So actually, the sextile is not a very strong aspect, but it provides for some kind of stability and restraint. Okay, so that's about the aspect, but um, the moon, the last aspect the moon made before being full was the square to Pluto. So the moon, not only is she in the Pluto sign, but she has been manipulated maybe or scared by this Pluto square. So she comes to be full in a state of fear and kind of subjugation, submissive, I would say, because Pluto is power, and the power of technologies, for example, the powers of science or pseudoscience, the powers that control society and the communities. So this moon, as she represents our emotional state, of course, is not very comfortable in the sign of Mars and Pluto, much less because she is in the decan of Jupiter and Neptune. As I said, first of all, Neptune is at zero declination, which is a special declination point. And it may represent this confusion that we have. So this full moon is charged with fear, with fear of power over us, is charged with confusion and probably deception, being deceived or deceive someone else. It's very afflicted moon already before it is full. So let's go deeper on the energy of this full moon, because we also have Mars and Venus in an aspect that is called septile. So the circle could be divided in 7 parts, equal parts, and each angle is 51 degrees 26 minutes. And Venus and Mars are separated by an angle of 53 degrees. And that means that it's just 2-degree orb from a septile. So with a septile, there is an energy of transcendence. And what does it mean? It means that we are proposed to solve problems from a viewpoint of uh, a wider perspective, and oftentimes a perspective that is intuitive, is more spiritual than rational. Actually, it doesn't have much to do. The septile doesn't have much to do with logic or the use of thinking and rationality. So we may be shown a solution of problems from a point of view of a heartfelt impression, let's say. An inspiration that I need to do something, but I cannot explain why. And even though there could be a more logical, rational solution, we have the tendency to do what our intuition or inspiration tells us. And if we try not to do it that way because we think, oh, this is crazy, this is not logical, etc., remember, there is in the decan of Pisces. So then we can feel kind of discordant inside ourselves. We may feel this uneasiness and not agreeing with our own selves. And oftentimes, it's that we need to do what we need to do because this is it. So there is also a factor of synchronicity sometimes, right? Something shows up and here it is. This is the solution. And at the global level, um, or in the mundane level, it could be something that seems unavoidable, that it should be that way, yes or yes. And it could end up being karmic, meaning having consequences that were not thought of. And it may be that people who have the power think that there is no other option, that logical thinking does not apply, that we need to do it because we need to do it. And remember, Neptune, which is the modern ruler of the decan, where the moon happens, then is at 0, meaning that is at a degree for the world. So, and we can actually see the chaos of the chaos is associated with Neptune in the whole world. Now, everything is in total destruction and decomposition. So, in the we really don't know where things are or where we are going. So another factor that we need to consider is that Pluto, and here you see the table, is counter-parallel not only with Venus, also with Jupiter. So the powers that be, Pluto, that govern through technology, like the technocrats, the power they hold, it is manipulating, it is forcing something on the significations of Venus and Jupiter, which we can say Venus represents resources, represents our desires, represents uh, interpersonal relationships. It also represents young women. It represents money. So the powers that be from the technocrats, Aquarius, that dominate society are forcing, manipulating, inspiring fear regarding the subjects associated with the archetype of Venus. Now, how about Jupiter? And let me tell you, parallel and contraparallel are aspects that are even sometimes stronger than longitudinal aspects. So that's why I work very much with these because they show so much more about the reality. So. Pluto contraparallel with Jupiter, especially in Capricorn, we're talking about these powers that be, as I said, they are opposing what Jupiter is trying to protect. Jupiter is the protector, the benefactor for Cancer, which is family, my home country, for example, my home, my house, the members of my family. So Pluto represents power over the willpower, the stronger than Mars. Pluto also represents manipulation. It also represents secrets and oftentimes criminal dealings, secret agreements or secret things. And through all that is manipulating all, inspiring fear about what is that we can consider shelter, protection, safety. Like Cancer represents that shell, that shelter that we need in order to grow, right? Which is the family, the home country. There are also conversations in the internet about this technocrats trying to create a global government, for example, that overlooks nations. So this opposition, this contra-parallel between Pluto and Jupiter in Cancer may mean that what they are trying to do is to eliminate the power of the nations and create power over everything. So I really don't know what is real and what is not real anymore. I just quote those conversations that I heard online because they are very well associated with these archetypes, and especially considering, as I said, Neptune in zero declination, which is the world point. So meaning that it applies to the whole world. Okay, so what else I wanted to say? I think that's, the remember that we had a stellium starting in Capricorn, then they migrate to Aquarius, to Pisces, and now they are in Aries, and they start to disintegrate as they move through the other signs, but they will still be stelliums in Taurus and in Pisces. Now, what does it mean? Because this is what it means to me is that all these personal and slower moving planets are going through the last quadrant of the zodiac. They have helped us to close a bigger cycle in humanity, right? Is the last quarter of the zodiacal for the whole world. And Aries is the start, like the baby of the zodiac, meaning that we closed all those chapters, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, and now we're starting something new. Another factor to consider is that in order to start something new, we will need resources. And here is the sun illuminating the sign of Taurus, meaning that we will be focused on our needs. For example, will we have enough food? Will we have enough agricultural produce? Because the shortage of oil is not only that we need it for transportation. Apparently, derivatives from the oil also help fertilize the crops. So, and now in the Northern Hemisphere, we are in the planting season, the springtime, where the fertilizers need to be incorporated to the soil. Now, this is what the sun is focusing on, the production of food, also banks and money are associated with the sign of Taurus. So all of those subjects are on the table, and the sun from that point is projecting the energy onto the moon, which is, as I said, our shared resources. So we are here talking about will we have the resources that we need, and how are we going to share them? And there is a factor of confusion because it is the second decan of Pisces. So this moon doesn't have the answers, right? Mars is charging forward, and Mars, the ruler of the moon, and is trying to get things done. But once on the 4th of May, Mars squares Jupiter, it may obtain what it needs through force, through aggression, through assault on someone else. Because remember, the sign of Aries, not only is it very impulsive because it acts before thinking, but it's also the my needs and myself, right? So, and Libra doesn't have any energy in Libra, and Venus is here in Gemini, where she's not too happy. She also just was in contact with Pluto, even though with a trine, it's not a good company. Okay, so another factor is that by the end of the cycle, after the last quarter and crisis in consciousness of this moon cycle, so we will have Kalsarpa Yoga again. So we might find ourselves in a situation similar to a lockdown, where we may not be able to get out of the house because there is no enough fuel, there is no enough resources. We might and this Kalsarpa Yoga will last for several months, actually until July, several times for 2 weeks, while the moon is within the limits of the nodes on this side of the chart. So we will have this need to restrain, to constrain our life, and focus on the houses from Virgo, so from Pisces to Virgo. These houses will be more active in our lives. So make sure that you find which are these houses for you, and you will see that once we have the Kalsarpa Yoga 2 weeks every month, you will be more focused on those, and you may not be able to feel the full power of the energy of these planets because they are trapped in that semicircle. So, and the way they're trapped is that they do not offer everything that they would have to offer otherwise. So, I hope these ideas help you understand this part of the moon cycle. So I will come back with the new moon in the end of Taurus. So you have a new perspective for the new month that will start 16th of May. So I hope this helps, and I'll see you then next time.